So, what's up? What's up? Death Row Records started in 1991. Tupac Amaru Shakur transitioned in 96. Death Row, hottest label at the time. So you had the West Coast representing Death Row. You had the East Coast representing Bad Boy Records. But how did Diddy get the money? How did he get the money to start Bad Boy Records?
Clive's favorite, and that's why he was immediately put onto this pedestal at a young age, really no experience, and now he's running everything. Now, Diddy has honored Clive throughout the years, so they still maintain a decent relationship. In 2019 at the Grammys, he was quoted saying that Clive Davis and Arista Records gave him a chance when he was starting Bad Boy Records.
Well, it is said Diddy oftentimes gives thanks, big thanks, gives a thanks of like one of the best thanks, the better than better. Ooh, no, like, let me thank you. Like, let me thank you like this. No, let me show you how thankful I am. Allegedly in some very conforming positions. So the question is, how far is a person really able, willing to go?
The puppy's real tight and, you know, lovers. So I thought he was talking like they got love for each other. It's all right. Yeah, they all love.
On average, the mind has 2,000 thoughts a day. Was Diddy already having some thoughts, emotions? Something in his heart that he was feeling, little flutters here and there, to think if he was ever proposed with XYZ, because maybe he did hear some things about Clive Davis, and if Clive Davis ever did decide to approach him with blah, 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 if I do this for you, then I need you to do this to me, for me, if you want this deal. Did Diddy already have it worked out? Because Diddy seems to have a type of mind where he likes to stay ahead of the game. How many steps? Not one, that's not good enough. 2, not even getting started. 3, you not even scratching the surface. 4, what's the thought? 5, now we talking. 6, talking further about what? 7, what type of actions of thoughts? 8, what's the action plan? 9, how far am I willing to go? 10, what's the time frame? What's the end game? And is there any protection involved in this if it doesn't go according to plan? But if you like how it's going, can we be forever embedded to each other by a contract of silence that we only know about? You never know what type of contracts people are making on your life. It's mighty strange, mighty interesting how out of all the bad boy artists that Diddy had through the years, it was so much darkness of warfare that people were fighting. When I think of
with the man to see, could I be attracted to the person and not the gender?
Toto and how that group turned out. When I think of Craig Mack and how that group turned out. Of course, when I think of Biggie and how that turned out. Shine, how that turned out. It's some more. Let me think. Who else? Who's else? Black Rob, and how that turned out. And then you have the artists who just sat there on the shelf. Because sometimes if you put this artist out, then they might be competing with this other artist who you want to get out. Then you got this upfront money, and they can't pay the upfront money back. So it's kind of like, okay, you took a loss on it, so what do you do to recoup the money back? It's a business. And it's not that anybody is dumb. It's just that those who knows the game, sometimes they want to pass it down, and sometimes they want to keep you right where you're at so that you don't know enough. Suge, on the other hand, I'm going to big him up. I am going to big him up. he clearly stated in this episode it was always important to him that he didn't just hire his friends to be security. He wanted them to have a job that they would make more than what a security would make. Now, if that's the job they wanted, fine, no problem. It was nothing to argue about. But he wanted them to learn some things behind the scenes when it came to the industry, because the potential was there. The longevity was there for them to learn, to have something to pass down. Because what if they have a relative of some sort and they're like, well, what did you learn for the time that you knew Suge? Is there something you can pass down to me, Unc? Now, when you look at the likes of a Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, okay, I think money right off. His daughter goes to USC. We know Dr. Dre gave USC a very, very healthy sum of money. Okay, benefited from being on Death Row Records. Then he started his own thing eventually. But where did it start at is the question. That's the focus. Where did it start at? Dre, producer, on Death Row Records at the time. Where did it start before that? We want to go back there further. Okay, NWA, Eazy-E. Needless to say, Dre's kids is eating. And their kids is going to eat as well. Tupac didn't have any kids. Snoop Dogg got kids. Last thing I knew about Dogg, his daughter was talking about just being blessed that her daughter, very humble girl, you know, she's had some sicknesses that she's spoken out about. I think it's lupus, don't quote me on it. But she said she was just thankful that her dad thought enough of her to get her a Toyota Corolla. Very humble, very thankful for that. Suge, he got kids. I'm sure he would want his kids to be taken care of. So I'm sure they're trying to figure out some stuff. Because if Suge is out here or on the inside trying to give common knowledge for people to know about their contracts, get educated. Don't you know the money that is invested in hip hop? And how many vultures are a part of that they are profiting off of that because there are no distribution deals. Because when Candace was mentioning black media, well, please believe, if black media really wants you to be on TV with them or an outlet, Candace, if the higher ups are saying it's okay, you will be on quote unquote black media. But when Suge took the time out to just go ahead and talk about how things just started to basically set in place for Diddy. He messed up one time due to some money, got another situation. Jimmy Iovine was involved. Tupac allegedly did a favor for Arista Records, Clive Davis, Interscope. When I think of Clive Davis, I still think on what happened to Whitney Houston. That's what she was signed to. With that story, is there some truth in it? I mean, all things alleged, but sometimes I just think, what happened to her? A lot of the greats came from Arista Records. Whitney Houston had a lot of love for Clive Davis. It was mentioned that they kind of had a little spat day before the Grammys. That's why I'm like, Suge, continue to speak out, because there's nothing stopping him at this point. Now, he's calling Diddy out. He's making people aware on how tainted the industry is. He's also making people aware to be in control, to know all that you can know. Do your research. Somebody don't want to tell you, find somebody who will eventually tell you. Don't let people leave you locked out. Don't take no for an answer. You don't have to tell everybody. You don't have to get worked up. Everything is not for you to confront. Suge caught out Deion Sanders with some money that he owes him for the song Must Be the Money. Well, good for him. Why not? Why do we have to live in a culture where it's like, well, it's okay, I'm just not going to say nothing? Nope, say something. He called out Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri probably needed to be called out. It went so far that Suge had to get on the phone with Janet Jackson's dad, Joe Jackson. The elder had to intervene, asking him not to do nothing to Jermaine Dupri. But he went on, what did he say he did? He took, Jermaine was coming out of Starbucks. Suge was coming out of Subway. He said he took that coffee with his little midget self and decided to pour that coffee on him. And he said when he get out, don't make him do it again. You owe him money. Bow Wow was brought up. How Snoop Dogg stole Bow Wow from Death Row Records at that time when Suge was doing some time. It's like, does people even care to even make things right, or is it just all about them and how they can get ahead? But you really can't get ahead, because you can't go out throughout life thinking you can just do people wrong and people are not to be held accountable. It's true, it really does catch up with you. You think you're doing wrong, you think you're doing right now, it might be feeling good, it's been X amount of years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and you still getting away with it. It never gets old, because when you go to sleep at night, I know people are thinking about things. But I think what Suge is doing at this point, who cares if that's his truth? Keep speaking out. And he's also making us aware to know it's okay. Don't sweep everything under the rug. If it's something that you may have been holding back for some years, let that be a sign that's working through me to tell you to speak up and keep the faith. If there's still some things that you've been thinking about pursuing in life, go ahead. Don't let nothing scare you into thinking you can't do it just because it's time that went by. This man is still fighting for what he thinks is right. He talks about him having the Lord in his life, and he sounds really sincere. I'm not one to be trying to judge nobody's heart if they're for real about it, but the fact that he's trying to speak out, he is speaking out about how to try to get it, respecting the culture, respecting yourself, doing it the right way, getting the education to support whatever dreams and aspirations. And don't get caught up in that extraness, that bull stuff that'll never stand.